The classroom went silent the moment she walked in. Her steps were quiet, almost too soft for anyone to notice, but her presence was impossible to ignore. New schools were always difficult, but for Elena, this was more than just another new start. She had been through worse, much worse. She carried scars, some visible, others hidden deep inside, and she promised herself she wouldn't let anyone break her again. But that promise was about to be tested. It didn't take long for the bullies to circle her. Every school had them, the ones who fed off weakness, who laughed at silence, who thought cruelty was strength. At St. Mary's High, that pack had a leader, Jessica, the self-proclaimed queen of the hallways. Jessica had everything Elena didn't: flashy friends, loud confidence, and the cruel smirk of someone who had never been truly tested. The first few days, Elena ignored the whispers. She's so weird. Why does she sit alone? Maybe she doesn't even speak English. She kept her head low, clutching her worn notebook like a shield, focusing only on surviving. But bullies don't stop when ignored. They escalate. One afternoon in the cafeteria, Jessica decided to make her move. She strutted up to Elena's table, her pack of followers trailing behind, giggling like hyenas. Elena kept her eyes on her food, hoping silence would be enough. But Jessica leaned closer, mocking, "What's wrong, new girl? Too good to talk to us?" When Elena didn't reply, Jessica's smirk twisted into irritation. She raised her hand, ready to slap Elena across the cheek in front of everyone. Gasps rippled through the cafeteria. This was entertainment. But then it happened. Elena's hand shot up with lightning speed, catching Jessica's wrist midair. For a moment, the room froze. Elena's eyes, sharp and unyielding, locked onto Jessica's. Gone was the shy, quiet girl everyone thought they could walk over. What they saw now was something dangerous, something unbreakable. "Don't," Elena said, her voice calm but cutting like steel. Jessica yanked her hand back, furious, but Elena stood up. For the first time, the entire cafeteria saw her differently, not as prey, but as someone powerful. What no one knew was that Elena had been training in martial arts since she was a child. Her father, a decorated soldier, taught her not just how to fight, but how to protect herself, how to stand tall in the face of cruelty. And now, for the first time, she was done hiding. The bullies tried to corner her later behind the gym. They thought it would be easy, 5 against 1. But they had no idea who they were dealing with. Jessica lunged first, her anger blinding her, but Elena sidestepped effortlessly, her training kicking in. She didn't fight to hurt them, but to show them a truth they'd never faced before. Every shove, every strike she blocked, every dodge reminded them, this girl was not their victim. The fight ended not with bruises or broken bones, but with silence. The bullies staggered back, stunned, humiliated, their pride shattered. Elena didn't chase them or mock them. She simply stood there, calm, strong, and unshaken. That silence was louder than any punch. But the story doesn't end there. Because the truth is, fighting isn't just about fists. Elena's real challenge came afterward, when teachers questioned her, when whispers turned into rumors, when students didn't know whether to admire her or fear her. It would have been easy to sink back into the shadows. But Elena chose differently. She used her strength not to intimidate, but to inspire. Slowly, people began to see her for who she really was, a fighter, yes, but not just in the physical sense. She stood up for others. She defended the kids who ate alone, the ones Jessica's group once tormented. She became a quiet force of justice, proof that courage isn't about being fearless, but about refusing to be broken. And as for Jessica, she avoided Elena for weeks. But eventually, something changed. One day, Elena found Jessica waiting by her locker. She didn't come with insults this time, or her pack of friends. She came alone, with eyes that were no longer mocking, but uncertain. "I don't get you," Jessica muttered. "Why didn't you humiliate me when you had the chance? Why not fight back harder?" Elena looked at her, her voice steady. "Because I don't need to destroy you to prove my strength. That's what makes me different from you." That moment didn't make them friends, but it planted a seed. Even Jessica began to think twice before striking at others. By the end of the year, Elena wasn't just the new girl anymore. She was a symbol of resilience. People whispered her name with respect, not ridicule. And the bullies, those who once ruled the hallways with fear, found themselves silenced, their power gone. Elena's story spread, not because she fought back with violence, but because she fought back with dignity, courage, and restraint. She showed that real strength isn't about how hard you can hit, but about how strongly you can stand. And for every kid watching from the sidelines, too afraid to speak up, too tired of being pushed down, she became living proof of one thing. No matter how dark the world seems, no matter how cruel people can be, you are never as powerless as they want you to believe. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment of courage to change everything.